In the empty lockers at PNC Park, the Pirates put quotes from notable players in franchise history. And one of the lockers has a quote from Jim Leyland that says, "Momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher." Now, if you put that into Google, they'll tell you that's actually an Earl Weaver quote that Jim Leyland might have appropriated, but the sentiment is the same. Momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher. And as the Pirates prepare for the most brutal month of their schedule, they are going to need to lean on the part of the team that they thought was always going to be their strength, but hasn't really delivered so far. Good morning and welcome to Offbeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. My name is Alex Stumpf and this is a daily look at your Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pirates finally won a series again. They were able to shrug off that rough 3-series set, and they did it on Wednesday with their starting pitching. Braxton Ashcraft comes in, delivers a quality start, was really dominant for the first 5 innings, and then the 6th, the defense got a little shaky. A couple runs were charged to him as a result, but he did what the Pirates needed. And it'd been a while since this team had had a quality start, especially one not from Paul Skenes. This team had 23 quality starts in April and May. And then in June, Ashcraft Wednesday was their third. It was 2 from Paul Skenes and 1 from Ashcraft. And before that, it was Ashcraft on May 31. Remember whenever this was supposed to be, this young, exciting rotation that was going to carry the Pirates throughout this year? And, oh man, if they could only have an average offense, they would probably be head to the postseason, period, full stop. Well, that hasn't been the case this year. The offense has been quite good, very good, more than doing their part in this. And the pitching has dragged behind. And a lot of that is the starting pitching. Or the bullpen, I'm sorry. The bullpen has been the big issue here. We get that. But the starting pitching has not lived up to expectations. Everyone, with the exception of Ashcraft, is pitching worse in 2026 than they did in 2025. Paul Skenes' ERA is up almost a full run. And while you could look at the peripherals, and while you could look at, the whip or however you want to look at it, I'm not sounding the alarm, but he isn't as dominant as he was last year or in 2024. We are seeing a lot more of a fastball changeup pitcher that's just not as dominant as the guy who was throwing splinkers or the guy who was throwing all those breaking balls last year. Mitch Keller has had a very rough year, and we've dove into that, about how whenever he doesn't have his sinker, the whole arsenal suffers. Meanwhile, you got Ashcraft, who is he is who I look at whenever I say Mitch Keller is pitching off the 4-seamer. He's not really doing what he is supposed to do. It's supposed to be that sweeper that gets the strikeouts. He needs the sinker to support that. Ashcraft is this is how your stuff pairs with one another. He's going to attack you with that 4-seamer and that curveball, especially to left-handers. He's going to attack you with the sinker and the slider, especially to right-handers. And just like the whole arsenal, he could throw all 4 of those pitches to, either a righty or a lefty, but the way he uses it, there is like a symphony. Bubba Chandler, we've seen the control problems, but there's still this great potential upside. And maybe these last couple starts might be an indicator that he can challenge hitters in the zone more. And Jared Jones, I know it hasn't been exactly peachy going on, and he's pretty much been limited to 80, 85 pitches each time out. But you see some of that stuff, and it's like, if he could just get the rust off, get back to the guy we saw in 2024, that would be huge. This is a rotation that has this tremendous upside that is not being reached. And now The Pirates have this weekend series with the Rockies, and then the schedule becomes murder. It's no breathers until the trade deadline. And they are playing without Oneil Cruz right now. And they are playing without Connor Griffin right now. And this offense has more than done its share. And I don't know how much better they could play in this month without Cruz and Griffin. Like, yeah, maybe Marcell Ozuna could finally start hitting. Maybe Jared Triolo could start hitting, but I don't think that's going to happen, at least not until maybe August or September for Triolo, because that's what happens every year. But Ozuna is not going, in my opinion, is not going to be the hitter that the Pirates hoped he would be at any point this year. They are being carried by Ryan O'Hearn and Brandon Lau and Bryan Reynolds, who is having another remarkable month of June. Bryan Reynolds is playing his way into All-Star consideration. He might be the person that bucks that podcast we did earlier this week, where I said, is Paul Skenes going to be the only All-Star? It's kind of looking like maybe Reynolds. Maybe Reynolds could be in that mix too. But this wasn't an offense-led team. It wasn't built to be that. And while they have carried the team, and this has been a team that has been more offense-oriented, they're not going to carry the team throughout this next stretch. The bullpen is a mess. I have very little faith that the bullpen is going to get much better without outside additions. As much as like a Wilbur Dotel or an Antoine Kelly, like, oh, those guys are intriguing, but they're also rookies. Everyone is inconsistent at best. Gregory Soto has been the most reliable arm they've had in that bullpen. And Gregory Soto long has a reputation of ups and downs and has shown some ups and downs even in Pittsburgh. He hasn't been exactly dominant. It's not like Tony Watson coming out of the bullpen. I just have very little faith that the bullpen is going to be able to improve before the trade deadline. They can make some additions, and maybe some guys like Dennis Santana can right the ship, get back on track. But no, it has to be the starting pitching that carries this team if this team is going to be able to survive this next month. They just need to be 500, I feel. If they get to the trade deadline 500, a game above 500, I think they're in a pretty decent spot because you can make the additions that you need to the bullpen. You will have your top two hitters back. And it would also imply that this starting rotation is back on track. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack hydration sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar, brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way for you to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. The Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. My personal favorites so far have been the almond butter chip and the iced tea lemonade hydration mix. It's just really full of flavor. I love starting my day with it, and I couldn't imagine starting my day with anything else other than IQ Bar products. Right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB 64000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
As good as Braxton Ashcraft has been this year, I just can't count on him to be the guy leading the charge right now. Just because of the innings, just because of he's going to be, if he's not already, in uncharted territory with his workload as a pro. He is going to be monitored the rest of the way. And I expect five and dives. I expect piggyback starts. I expect ways to manage his innings. He has been terrific so far. But he can't be the guy leading this rotation. That has to be Paul Skenes. And if it's not Paul Skenes, it has to be Bubba Chandler. And if it's not Bubba Chandler, it has to be Mitch Keller. And if it's not Mitch Keller, it has to be Jared Jones. This is the homegrown rotation that we have talked about all year. Potentially one of the best rotations in the game. And if you want to go by WAR from Fangraphs, which does take FIP into account, I'm not as big a fan of WAR from Fangraphs for pitchers. 8.2 WAR is second in baseball. I look at the 407 ERA, which is 10th in baseball for starting pitching. I think Jared Jones can improve as he gets more starts. I would like to see him maybe be pushed a little more. I would definitely like to see Carmen Mlodzinski be detached from the hip because I have no use of, making that a perpetual piggyback start. I have no use for a reliever that is only going to pitch like a starting pitcher, but only half the time or half the potential innings. I think Bubba Chandler, I really do feel like he might be turning a bit of a corner here. Like just the way he's challenging in the zone, do that. Throw strikes, see if they can hit it. Get the arm action the way that you want to. Don't overthrow, get those mechanics sound. Mitch Keller, I have pause. I have pause until I see the sinker land in the strike zone again. I really think that is the biggest issue that he is facing right now. If he can do that, the other stuff will come together. And then for Skenes, I know he's had a couple quality starts here this month. He's maybe getting back into the groove that he needs to. Pirates didn't sign up for a guy with the ERA in the high twos. That wasn't what they thought they were getting this year. The team is 6-9 in his starts. They have to take advantage whenever Paul Skenes goes on the bump. There's just a lot surrounding this team right now that gives you pause for a starting rotation that was supposed to be the strength of this club. Going into Wednesday, this team was 3-8 in their previous 11th games. And then Braxton Ashcraft goes out and he tosses a quality start. And the offense has a great day here. I mean, I'm not going to BS you. That was the story of the game. Just everyone contributing, whether it was O'Hearn or Ozuna or Reynolds continuing to be the hottest hitter in the National League. All that stuff. I get it. That was the story of the day. But momentum is tomorrow's starting pitcher. And Braxton Ashcraft went out there and shoved and shut down one of the best young lineups in baseball. It can be done. This rotation can get back on track. It can become one of the strengths of this team. But we were in a point of the season that the bullpen is not producing and the offense is down two of their best hitters. The starting pitching, regardless of what teams thought of going into the year, the starting pitching was going to have to be what carries them. They need to carry right now. They have the potential, but if they don't, I think the season is in serious jeopardy. This is just too tough a stretch of games coming up. There are very few breathers after this Colorado series. They need to take care of business in Denver, go home, and they need that starting pitching to be as advertised. Thank you so much for listening to Offbeat here on North Shore 9 presented by FanDuel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe wherever you find podcasts or check us out on YouTube if you want to see my smiling face. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.